brother! Man, Jay, Horace Slughorn, am I right? Seems like such a delightful guy. Taught Tom Riddle about Horcruxes, stole tentacular leaves, attended a giant spider's funeral for personal gain. But he's not all bad, right? I mean, after all, he was one of the final 3 dueling Voldemort at the Battle of Hogwarts, and he does have a pretty cool hourglass. If you think about it, he's kind of like the opposite of Wormtail, attracted to power, but Wormtail was the Gryffindor that went bad, and Slughorn is the Slytherin that went good. Not that there's anything surprising at all about that. Slytherins are awesome. But there is one thing that he has said that I have always been endlessly curious about. On the first day of class, when he says, "When you have seen as much life as I have, you know that Amortentia, the love potion, is the most dangerous potion in the room."
It is probably the most dangerous potion in this room.
Never really gets explained, but I think Slughorn may be hiding a memory even darker than the one Harry retrieves from him. And today, we find out what. Most dangerous potion in the room? That's a pretty bold statement when the other 3 are Veritaserum, Polyjuice Potion, and Felix Felicis. Transforming into others, Forced Truth-Telling, and Liquid Luck all kind of seem like they could be super dangerous in the wrong hands. That is if Felix Felicis does anything at all. Especially later when we see Ron take one of the love potions and they take him to Slughorn and he's just like, "Ah, don't worry about it, there's an easy antidote."
Hello, darling.
Now, we never really learn anything at all about Slughorn's romantic history, so what could have happened in his past that makes him believe that this potion is so dangerous? Now, despite Ron's fairly harmless experience with the love potion, we do see it used one other time very dangerously, and that was, you know, the conception of Lord Voldemort. And that sure had consequences. Although I have to say, I have always wondered how his mother, Merope, was able to brew the love potion itself. She wasn't very good at magic, and it sounded like a fairly complicated potion. So I wonder if she had help, and I wonder if that's what Slughorn is referring to. But no, how could that have even, when would they have even crossed paths? Well, let's see. Merope was born in 1907, which means if she went to Hogwarts, it would have been between the years of 1918 and 1925. Of course, it's not actually known if Merope did go to Hogwarts. In fact, it's actually believed that she didn't, but I have to disagree. See, she was a Gaunt, the last living heir of Salazar Slytherin himself, and her father and family are like so freaking proud of this, like almost obsessively so. The family is known for one thing and one thing only. How could they align themselves so heavily with that and not go to Hogwarts? What Slytherin was famous for. Now, I don't think she would have been a good student, like even at all. From the sounds of it, her brother and father repressed most of her magical talent, and her poor, ragged, and unattractive appearance probably wouldn't have won her many friends. But because she was a Gaunt and the direct descendant of Slytherin himself, she absolutely would have been in the Slytherin house. Now, Gaunt is a famous wizarding name, so kind of despite that haggard appearance, she still could have attracted the attention of someone who was, you know, into famous wizards. And who do we know like that? Yes, Slughorn, but would they have been at Hogwarts at the same time? Well, Slughorn didn't start teaching at Hogwarts until 1931, so it wouldn't have been possible for him to have known Merope as a professor, but maybe as a fellow student. Now, we don't know exactly when Slughorn was born, but we do know that he is younger than Dumbledore, which means he was born after 1882, and that he didn't start teaching until 1931, so at the very latest, he would have been born at 1914. So it is very possible they could have crossed paths at school. And don't think that Slughorn's collecting of famous wizards happened only after he became a professor. See, the name Slughorn is one of the Sacred 28, which is a list of the 28 pure-blood wizarding families. According to recent writings by J.K. Rowling on Pottermore, the Slughorn family were proud of their pure-blood heritage and encouraged a quiet belief in the family's innate superiority.
Even more impressive when one considers she was Muggle-born.
The same writing says that Slughorn, as a student, was attracted to anyone whose talents or backgrounds made them in any way distinctive. But being the last remaining heir of Slytherin would probably fit that bill, and that information would be readily available because guess what other family was part of the Sacred 28? The Gaunts. Now, I don't think that Slughorn would have spared her too much attention, because he did seem to quickly weed out people whose talent didn't quite meet what their name may suggest. But such a background, I think, could have earned her at least one favor, such as maybe how to brew a love potion. And Slughorn would have been the perfect person to ask. He was an outstanding student and did go on to be a potions master. But just because he taught her how to brew such a potion, what would lead him to believe that that potion in particular was so dangerous? How could he know how it was used? It's not like him or anyone else knew who Tom Riddle's mother was, right? Well, kind of like teaching Tom Riddle about Horcruxes, I don't think he knew for some time what the consequences were of teaching Merope Gaunt how to brew a love potion. As far as he was concerned, she would have died shortly after leaving Hogwarts and ended the Slytherin heritage. At this point, Slughorn would be a professor at Hogwarts and believed that the last heir of Slytherin would have died 16 years ago. At which point he could also remember having taught who he thought to be the last living heir of Slytherin how to brew a love potion, and realized that that love potion was used to create another heir who was now at Hogwarts, where there just so happened to be a talented young Slytherin boy with no mother by the name of Tom Riddle. Which would mean that Slughorn knew that Hagrid was unfairly blamed of opening the chamber. So how fitting is it that he is now, years later, at the funeral of the monster who was blamed? And who brewed the Felix Felicis that brought him to that very spot? Stop brewing potions, man! That is if Felix Felicis does do anything. In any case, I think Slughorn believes that Amortentia is the most dangerous potion in the room because he secretly knows that he helped create the love potion that led to the conception of Lord Voldemort. Of course, he would never come forward with this information. He is a known memory concealer and I'm sure believes this would incriminate him in some way. He even says at one point, "We Slytherins are brave, yes, but not stupid. For instance, given the choice, we will always choose to save our own necks." To which I say, that's kind of like a backhanded insult at Gryffindors, right? Like, we're brave, just not stupid, unlike you Gryffindors with all your bravery and stupidity. For my question of the day, what do you guys think? Is it true? Did Slughorn kind of help create Voldemort and then teach him how to be Voldemort and then battle Voldemort? Is Harry Potter actually the Horace Slughorn story? Horace. Great name. Let me know your thoughts in the towel section down below. Also, for those of you who support us over on Patreon, we have our next live stream scheduled for next Monday, May the 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, we just added a really cool new tier for Patreon members where you can actually just chat with us on Discord throughout the day. It's really cool, so be sure to go check that out. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see some more Harry Potter action from us, you can click right here to find out the true owner of Crookshanks, or right here to find out the truth about Felix Felicis. But Jay, that is everything that I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.